Well, hopefully this video won't get demonetized, eh? Hey folks, MasakoX here. Well, this being February, and the month where we tend to get besotted with the likes of Valentine's Day and examples of love and romance, we're going to be going the other way and talk about big pink spiky boys like Deborah here for a fair bit. Some time ago, a fellow content creator, Karthu from Karthu's Dojo, posted two interesting scans on his Twitter, one coming from Dragon Ball Z and the other originating from Super. Now, what do these two things have in common? Both of them showcase a nice little bit of continuity regarding certain demonic lore within Dragon Ball. And this is back when demons were a little more grounded around Earth, instead of having a whole kingdom in a different part of the universe like we start to get post-Cell. These gave us some inclination to have a look back at the demonic beings of Dragon Ball and check out some misconceptions and see what caused the thinking to occur in the first place, and this is including our own misconceptions. As Dragon Ball Heroes is the medium that has dabbled in this matter the most, do take everything with a huge grain of salt though. Like, if you can get a bag of salt, that'd be great. Also, we've been mentioning some of this stuff in other videos, so we will try to keep things that may feel repetitive to you relatively brief, but we do reckon it's important enough to work it together with the new stuff here. So first and foremost, the term demon in Dragon Ball is a very interesting one. It's not as clear-cut constantly as you may think, like with other series and genre. In Toriyama's world, they tend to be lumped together under a singular banner, with many creatures with many different characteristics being classed as one, with the only common trait being that these creatures are, well, evil. The most common type tend to live in the demon realm, or in Hiffle, and are your standard mishmash of Oni and Western fantasy demons. Now, these are the most conventional examples that you could find in the dragon world, and so they are usually doing the most common of things, and in the case of the workers of King Yama, they do the boring stuff. Think the bad place before the bad place was even a thing. But there is more to this, of course, and as you will see later on, Toriyama and other creatives responsible for Dragon Ball have become pretty loose about this definition, choosing to demonstrate their own interpretations given the already flexible banner of demon kind. It's like, hey, I want to come up with an idea of demons myself, I'm just gonna do this! Sometimes we can also blame this spread on translation, that puts all these creatures in one basket for the sake of simplicity. As in Japanese culture, there are multiple types of demons with their own meanings, backgrounds, associations, traditions. In the West, you sort of just have one blanket identity. Demon bad! And for some reason, most demons have a Cockney accent, innit? Well, you can thank Takahata 101 for that sort of trope. But anyway, for a start, we have the likes of Spike and his kin, the Devilmen, or Akuma in Japanese, but we don't know much about them other than the fact that they mature slowly, like Akman, and that they inhabit Hiffle and are a part of some local unique type of being, instead of being actual mortals punished to spend eternity in there, and then they become demons over time. When it comes to the likes of HE double hockey sticks, you also have the likes of ogres that we've mentioned in greater detail in our King Yama video, who are either goons of Lucifer or, more commonly, the hard-working operators of the other world. Of course, these beings are very well known in the Western world, or, their caricatures, and no, we're not just referring to the onion-loving type of ogre. Ogres and orcs and the like are very big tropes of Western literature and fantasy, so in a way, it shows that they are either universal in appeal or just something mutually associated with being lackeys. Just put an ogre in there, people will get the idea. Next are the race that we most commonly connect to, the Dragon Ball version of demons, the so-called Demon Realm race. Not exactly the catchiest of names, is it? Originating from the realm, located on the very bottom tip of the universe, we assume that each universe has one of these examples, they are implied to be an equivalent of Shinjin, or Kai person, but not all of them can be classified as Makaioshin. It's like with Kais, there are common people like Kibito, who serves the Supreme Kai like Shinjin proper, and there are the parallels in the other realm supposedly. But we will open that can of worms later on, for the now most well-known Demon Realm person is, of course, Deborah. He made an impact upon his debut when he was immediately dubbed the King of the Demons, who had been curtailed by a little potato. Okay? Before being subservient to a common vegetable, he used to govern over the Demon Realm, and in the games has a sister, Toa, who looks nothing like him. But hey, that doesn't really matter to some people because Bobs. Now, while this isn't part of the main Dragon Ball storyline, according to the hero's lore, as well as some bits of the Dragon Ball Online game, where Toa originally came from, so you know, some evil wizards, heavily hinted to be former Supreme Kai candidates that never cut quite the mustard, including the likes of Demigra and Mekikabara, were imprisoned at the bottom of Universe 7, where they created the Demon Realm, out of spite. Thusly, they became the first generation of demons, possibly Demon Supreme Kais, or the infamous first Makaioshin, a name which has been floating around the fandom ever since its introduction in Dragon Ball Super Exciting Guide. In this tidbit, translated by Herms, the legendary Herms, we read, according to Toriyama in the recent Super Exciting Guides, the Demon Realm has its own special gods called Makaio and Makaioshin, kings of the Demon Realm and gods of the kings of the Demon Realm, respectively. They're the antithesis of the Kaio and Kaioshin and govern evil. Whenever one of the Shinjin, the special race that Kaio and Kaioshin are selected from, is born with an evil heart, they leave the Shinjin's planet and go to be with the Makaio. However, it's unknown whether the Makaio and Makaioshin themselves are selected from among these delinquent Shinjin, or whether they're beings who have already existed in the Demon Realm and simply ally themselves with evil Shinjin. It's also not known whether Deborah himself was a Makaio or a Makaioshin, or if he was simply a political ruler of the Demon Realm rather than a god, like the difference between the Earthworld King and its god. At any rate, Toriyama says that currently, the power of the Kaioshin is greater than that of the Makaioshin. So, in a way, you could also consider that Zamasu, if he actually was a little bit more patient, you know, he might have ended up in the Demon Realm. But the extended universe lore seems to suggest that Makaioshin and Deborah's race seem to be different kinds of this race, and we personally believe that the likes of Mekikabara and Demigra were originally Kais, while beings like Deborah and Toa were already born in the Demon Realm. It does then get a little bit confusing, especially that the biggest chunks of lore about demons and their dark empire come from heroes, not from the man himself, which does diminish the credibility of it slightly. But that's not all that there is to demons in the Dragon world, because we also have the Majin to account for. If you follow Dragon Ball on YouTube, you know how much of a headache this one is to pin down properly, since Buu has been retconned quite a few times. Basically, they were created by Buu, and Buu himself is a primordial, elemental force of the universe, who, according to the current lore, got corrupted by the evil elements of mortals that Bibidi was able to use in order to awaken the creature from his long slumber, energy gathering, as its life cycle was a huge rampage, then a nap. Not so different from Beerus actually, only less formalized. It seems, in short, that Buu is literally what he eats. Other than Good Boo's children, there is one more Majin that seems separate from this bloodline, called Ozoto. He originates from an arcade game called Dragon Ball Z VRVS, and his whole gimmick is being able to transform into other fighters. So it's sort of like Cell, but, you know, just, I'm this guy now. I'm this guy now. But this guy isn't even Hero's level of oh no, wait, sorry, no. He did appear in the Hero's manga, my bad. Now, while the above examples were written with the kanji for Demon Man or Demon Human, the other type of Majin Demon God is used to describe two more characters, Majin 2 or Demon God. These are Lucifer and Gastel. Now, while Gastel himself is a type of ogre, something that seems to be connected more to the Oni of the other world, we cannot be sure at the times of OG Dragon Ball, and especially movies seem much more loose in terms of canon, Lucifer himself is a weird one. Instead of being a demon per se like we've been describing, he's really more of a vampire than a regular demon in terms of pop culture standards, yet his name and the fact that he is referred to as a demon god seem to imply connections with the powers similar to the ones that King Piccolo is using. You see, This is back in the day when demons in Dragon Ball was just a catch-all term for a bad guy, instead of being more nuanced later on. And although we can attribute that to loose continuity, when we get to King Piccolo, we shall explain what we think about beings who become demons, rather than being born as such. But an honourable mention does go to Phantom Majin, or Gen Majin. That's Hirudegarn. I mean, come on, this first form is the scariest thing I've seen in Dragon Ball. In fact, if I'd had seen this as a little child, I'd have been petrified. Why did it have to become a cicada? I mean, seriously, just have the first form. Essentially, these things are infused with evil powers, probably demonic. Simple enough. Also, there's fiends or mamono, a very generic, non-classified term to describe beings such as Janemba or Gurumes after his transformation. Basically, it's a way to tell us we have no idea what kind of demonic being this is, so yeah, bad person. Now we have the demon clans, so we are getting quite close to King Piccolo, but first, Machians. So, Garlic Jr., whoever he is, his kind, they apparently come from planet Machio, not the Machio star, as it was incorrectly stated in the dub, that comes close to Earth every 5,000 years. As you might be able to remember from the lore, they have been a thorn in Kami's side ever since Garlic Sr. competed for the role of Kami, the Guardian of Earth, and they can also get jacked. The other, more well-known demon clan are connected to King Piccolo. Kanzenshu's Demon Guide describes them as such. In the manga, the only members of the demon clan we are introduced to are Piccolo Daimao and his offspring, cymbal, tambourine, drum, piano, and eventually Ma Jr. Their special characteristic is that the spirits of those killed by them are unable to pass on into the afterlife, and instead remain in the living world, suffering. Fans sometimes mistakenly say those killed by them go to limbo. Similarly, their ki is able to permanently destroy a Kintoon, something normal weapons cannot do. It's never really stated what qualifies one as a member of the demon clan, but since Piccolo Daimao was born from the evil of God's heart, it seems that being pure evil, or at least close to it, is the major factor. This is supported by the fact that Ma Jr. no longer has the characteristics of the demon clan by the time the battle with Raditz rolls around. Goku and Raditz's souls both go to the afterlife, and this is tied with Piccolo becoming less evil. We allowed this discussion to circle around in this way because we believe that it is very important to note that in Dragon Ball, it is possible to become a demonic entity, and not only just being born as such, and you can also stop being a demon, like with Piccolo. If you do look at the likes of King Piccolo, the Machians, and even the Makaioshin, you can quickly realize that those creatures have learnt how to use a different kind of ki, an energy that might be the opposite of God ki, demon ki if you were, something that we ourselves have fan-crafted into our What If Cell Turned Good series. Remember that it was never officially named in any sources, but it's heavily implied to exist, like dark matter. Not only that, but even if demons do appear weaker than Supreme Kais, they are still able to block some of the abilities of angels, and, of course, they don't play by the rules and can use whatever trick they can muster to outdo stronger opponents who do follow the rules. It is even more interesting that creatures killed by angels can be resurrected by eternal dragons, as both Shenron and Porunga could revive King Piccolo's and Boo's victims. And we all know what Jiren wanted from Super Shenron, so even though demons might not be the most powerful in terms of brute strength, well, if you can negate something as powerful as an angel, you gotta be doing something right. Demons are largely unexplored in the main story, and it's actually a bit of a shame, because due to their prominency in the Dragon Ball Heroes universe, they are really unlikely to pop up in the main story, just keep them there, which puts them in a weird state of limbo. That's sad, actually. The biggest hope we have, though, regarding a demonic entity, is the being who killed Gichin, Jiren's master, meant to imply to be a demon, which might be revealed one day. But that's all from us. If you want to read up more about this subject, we strongly recommend Kanzenshu's Demon Guide that we used as an aid for this particular endeavour. But what do you folks think? Do you want to see some more demons in the main story, or would you rather have them remain in the realm of video games and promotional material? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going, and I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!